All right, welcome to the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I'm your host Tom Lennon, and I have Maddie Bowlin with me, and we're just going to talk about her amazing competition she just did, and talk about how she became a diabetic and anything else that's on her mind. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, just a quick question. So, when did you first become a diabetic?
I was 8 years old.
Okay. Now, you have a twin sister as well, correct?
I do.
Yeah, so did she get diagnosed at the same time?
She was diagnosed about 6 months after me.
Okay, and how did you find out?
I was at my grandfather's house. He's type 2 diabetic, and he noticed some signs of it and checked my blood sugar. I was running to the bathroom a lot, drinking tons of water, and he checked my blood sugar, and it was over 300.
Okay, and then what happened after that? Did you guys go to the ER right after, or?
Not immediately. We called my mother because we were able to bring it down a little bit before I had to go to the ER. We called my mother. She came over to Pensacola where he lives, and then we went to the ER there.
Okay, all right. So what did your parents feel like? Were they like really shocked, or were they sad, or?
Well, when we were in the hospital, a lot of people told them that it's not cancer, it's going to be okay, like, she's going to be fine. And that really irritated them a lot, like, no, it's not cancer, but this is like a lifelong sentence. I'm going to have to deal with this for the rest of my life. So it was really a struggle for them as well as me. Like, we didn't know, like, how to handle it, what to do, what was happening, stuff like that.
Okay, now how do you manage your blood sugar right now?
I do CrossFit every now and then, and I am a lifter. I compete in Olympic weightlifting, and I train regularly about 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay, all right. And do you do it by diet or anything like that? Do you have like a special diet plan that you're using, or? Sometimes
I try to stick with it as well as I can. Try to keep the carb intake a little lower, just to keep my blood sugar more steady.
Yeah. So, like, do you have like a special like carb amount that you take daily, or is it just kind of like?
Anywhere between. I try to eat over 200 carbs a day, but no more than 250.
Okay, all right. And typically, I usually eat like 300 plus. So, cause
you're a little bigger than I
am.
Yeah,
just a little bit, but yeah. So is it the same? Does your sister pretty much do the same thing as well, like CrossFit and?
No, my sister is not active at all. She's at school at USA right now, and she doesn't. I don't think she does anything actively.
Okay.
At all.
Okay, so we were just at your competition.
Yes.
You competed and you did amazing.
Thanks.
And you hit the numbers to hit. Now, what was the competition for the Arnold that's going to happen?
It's AO1 American Open Series. It's a national lifting event.
Okay. Now, what were the numbers that you hit to get to that?
I got a 60 kilo snatch and a 72 kilo clean and jerk.
Okay, and you're what division you in?
I was in the 81 kilo weight class.
Okay, very cool. I saw the lifts; they were amazing.
Thanks.
So those were. I'm going to post those on Instagram too.
Okay.
I actually videotaped both of those
Great.
lifts. So, so how did you get into weightlifting and kind of CrossFit?
When I was about 16 years old, I had a friend that invited me to go to CrossFit, and I went. I really don't know why, but I did, and I started to fall in love with it, fall in love with what my body can do and how I can get stronger and stuff like that, and eventually it grew into, I love the barbell, I love weightlifting more. So I transitioned, I just recently, about 6 months ago, transitioned into the weightlifting part. I do CrossFit a little less, and that's where I am today. Started with weightlifting, now I'm here.
So you do 3 times a day for weightlifting. Do you do, in between those days, do you do CrossFit, or just kind of take it easy?
I haven't recently, but I am starting soon to get my weight to go down before nationals.
Okay. All right. So what's your favorite lift to do? Actually, no. When you first started CrossFit, do you remember the workout that you did?
I don't remember the exact workout, but there was tons of running, 100 plus sit-ups, and I think there were wall balls in it. And I really don't know why I went back, but I did.
Yeah. So my first workout was the 300 workout. I was doing it at a Globo gym, and like, you know, the movie 300, like all the Spartan Warriors used to use that workout, and I was like, that's how I pretty much got started into CrossFit. And then I was an Air Force medic, and the gym that they had a box there, and they're like, I wanted to try it out, and so they're like, hey, come on in, try it out. I mean, you don't really need to do the on-ramp program because they think you're strong enough to know all the lifts and stuff. And I just got hooked ever since.
Yeah.
So do you follow, like when you were doing CrossFit, do you have a special program that you guys were doing, or?
No, I just do the workouts that my box does.
Okay, all right. Do they do like heavy lifting at all, or is it mainly just like Metcons? Or?
They do. They'll normally do, I think, 3 days of lifting and then a Metcon, and then every other day there'll be like a longer Metcon.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Now, what's the splits that you do for your weightlifting training for the 3 days that you do?
On Monday we work on snatches. On Wednesday we work on clean and jerk, and then Fridays we do a mix of both.
Okay, and what's your favorite lift?
So that's a really hard question. When I first started, I think it was the snatch, but then the snatch really kicked my butt. So clean and jerk, I tend to have more fun with the clean and jerk. I can clean almost anything, but the jerk is my problem, and I find a lot of joy in that. I don't know. I love working on my jerk.
Yeah. I love doing the snatch. That's my thing. Even though it's like super hard and it kicks my butt too.
Oh yeah.
But it's nothing like just a big weight snatch. And you're just like overhead, and you're like, hell yeah, I got it.
Yes.
Nice. So you're on the pump right now.
Yes.
So what pump is that?
It's a Mini Med Medtronic.
Okay. And what type of insulin do you use?
I use Novolog.
Okay. And you've been using that pretty much the whole time? You've been a diabetic? Yeah, I'm on Humalog right now. I was on Novolog, but it just got too expensive.
Yeah.
So how does it work with your twin when you guys get medication at all? Like, did you have like issues or anything like that?
So because I am a twin, we both had the same birth date and obviously very close in name. And our insurance company didn't like that very much, so they would like delete one of us out of our getting our medication. So she would get some and I wouldn't, and then I would get some and then she wouldn't. Since we've been diagnosed at 8 years old, we've always had problems with our insurance company.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have it like now, or are you on separate insurance?
Well, we do somewhat. She lives in Mobile and I live in Sheffield, Alabama. So because we're farther away, there's different addresses, so it's a little different now. But the other day, I ordered insulin in my name and they sent it to her address. We're getting our separate medication now, but they're sending it to hers, and I don't know how or why they would do that.
You guys are on the same insurance plan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You guys with your parents still, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because with me, I'm on my own, so I'm like managed. I don't have a twin either, so I don't have that issue. But you probably had to share most of the stuff.
Oh yeah.
With it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So with that, like, have you met any other, like, do you still like do like diabetes communities or anything like that, or?
Not very much because I'm so busy. I'm a full-time college student, full-time job, and I do training with lifting. But a few weeks ago in August, I did compete in a CrossFit competition, and I met another type 1 diabetic there, and we of course had a blast, took a bunch of pictures together, and I think that I've only met like 2 or 3 other CrossFitting or lifting diabetics.
Okay.
They're not very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still do you engage like any other communities at all, like the JDRF or?
Not very much. We used to, and me and my twin sister were younger and newly diagnosed, but not much anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So we're moving on to another subject. So what's your go-to little treat that you like to eat, like a little like cheat meal kind of deal?
Well, I love cinnamon rolls. That is absolutely my weakness, is hot, gooey cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. So do you like so for me, I love like gooey chocolate chip cookies. That's like, if I see them, it's almost like a vampire seeing a cross. You're like, get away. But I just, they're so good sometimes. But what's your go-to cinnamon one? Do you like to make them your own and then eat them, or do you like to go to some place and get them?
I've never made any from scratch. I love Cinnabon cinnamon rolls and then the Pillsbury cinnamon rolls.
Nice.
They're the best.
Yeah. I used to eat those back when I was a little kid. So how did you find out about type 1 lifting?
I really don't remember. I knew I wanted to find somebody who is like a CrossFitter or lifting and diabetic, and I love to follow people on Instagram that do the same thing.
Yeah.
To learn from them and watch and get to know them, because it's really cool to know somebody else who's a diabetic and going through the same thing you are.
Yeah.
So I think I probably just found you on Instagram.
Yeah. So how I found you posted your favorite diabetes. I think it was like your favorite on the Insta story, your favorite diabetics, and I think you put my name on it, and I was like, oh, okay, so like I saw your profile, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna follow her. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the shirts and?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I have a Type 1 lifting shirt. I wear it all the time. It probably really stinks. I don't remember the last time I washed it. It just stays in my duffel bag, and I wear it at the gym all the time.
Yeah. I have so many shirts that I wear, and it's just like they just smell so bad, and I'm like trying to like wash them, but it's like, no, these are like the OG shirts. I can't get rid of them. So, So I know you're doing the Open. I think you're doing that. You're doing the 20.1 tomorrow.
Yes.
So what's your game plan going into this?
Man,
to this workout?
so I'm hoping to spend about 45 seconds on each movement, like per round. So I'll be 45 on the burpees. I don't know which one's first, the burpees or the ground to overhead.
Ground to overhead.
So I'll do about 45 seconds on the ground to overhead, then about 45 seconds for the burpees. And then maybe if I need some after the burpees is where I need some rest. So I'll probably take a little bit after that.
Yeah. So are you doing it RX?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. So I recommend kind of after the burpees, just stand next to the bar and just take a nice deep breath in.
Yeah.
And then go. So a lot of people are transitioning to like the clean and jerk and doing it, but some people say their heart rate is so high when they start doing it, their heart rate gets even higher.
Yeah.
And so they just stick with the snatches. And so I absolutely died on that workout.
Yeah.
So it was not the best workout I had in my CrossFit Open.
Well, there's a bunch of
lifespan.
burpees in it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was literally gonna throw up. I almost stopped that halfway through, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna puke or it's from like me eating before I got there. But in with that, like I always worry about getting low blood sugar.
Yeah.
After a work, like during a workout. So have there been times that you've like gotten low at all, or?
Normally during a workout or during a training session, I'll spike. Because what happens when you work out for a long period of time, your body burns fat.
Yeah.
And that fat will turn into sugar, which will make my blood sugar spike.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll start out and it'll drop just when I'm like easing, getting into it. But that doesn't happen regularly. I normally spike.
Yeah, there was a couple of times I actually was checking my I thought I was getting low blood sugar, so I had to stop and check during the middle of a workout. Not that I want to do that, but
Yeah.
But it was like perfectly fine. So it was either I took too much insulin but yeah. So with the now going to the pump, do you wear that while you're working out at all? Or?
I try to when I can. I do have a little armband, like you put your phone in. I put my pump in that sometimes, but when I'm competing or at a CrossFit competition, I can't wear it on my arm.
Yeah. So do you put it like all over the place, like your
I keep it on my arms.
Okay.
When I was younger, I would only put it on my stomach. I hate it anywhere else, and now I hate it on my stomach. I can't put it on my stomach. It stays on my arms.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have to take? Do you have like you don't use a pen at all? Just the pump?
Yeah.
Okay. And how you liking it so far? You've been using it for quite a while, right?
Yeah, probably since I was 10, maybe about 11 years.
Okay. Yeah. I've always been intrigued with the pump, but like I haven't hit my deductible yet ever, so I can't get it.
Yeah.
And it's the prices are so astronomically high that it's like impossible. Even with my pens right now, it's like through the roof. I can't imagine being a college student and then taking insulin, like how much it costs for that. So is it cheaper in Alabama at all, or?
I don't look at my insulin at all. My mother does that for me.
Okay.
So I have no idea what it costs.
Okay.
I looked at like the pump sites and the pump itself cost a good $8,000 plus.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the insulin.
And with the meter, do you have to change that every 3 months, or is it every month?
Yes, I do have a sensor inside my arm that checks it, and we change it out every 3 months.
So how does that work? How do they pull it out and stick it back in?
So I've only had this one for 2 months.
Okay.
This is like the first time I've ever had this in my arm. It's an implant. And so they'll take it out in about 20 days. And I think they'll put in another one. I'm really not sure how it works. I haven't got it done yet.
All right. I would love to, if you do an Instagram story, I would love to see how that works.
Okay.
Yeah, so what school do you go to right now?
I'm at a community college, Northwest Shells Community College, and I will transfer to UNA.
Okay, so what are you going to school for?
Fitness management.
Awesome, very cool. So
Yes.
what got you into like the fitness realm?
Well, of course, I started CrossFit
Yeah.
and then lifting, and these both have really changed my life. Okay, I have type 1 diabetes. I struggle with an eating disorder and depression and anxiety, and those things just completely blew my world away, and I haven't struggled with hardly anything other than the diabetes, of course, in a very long time. And I want to become a coach and help others beat down those walls and conquer their anxiety and depression and eating disorders the same way.
Well, that's cool. So when did you start getting anxiety and like depression and stuff
Shortly
like that?
after I was diagnosed with diabetes, probably around 13 years old maybe,
Okay.
I started struggling with some stuff. And it's normal for a diabetic to stop taking insulin or stop eating so they don't have to take insulin, because, guys, this is rough. Taking all this stuff around every day. People ask about tons of stuff about what to eat, why can't I eat that, or what not to eat. And so I just fell apart, and I stopped taking care of myself, stopped taking insulin, stopped eating because I didn't want to take my insulin.
Mm-hmm.
That's how everything started.
Yeah. So have you gone to since getting that? Do you go to the hospital a bunch of times for that, or?
I did. I would go a lot because of DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. But since I started CrossFit, I think I've only been in the hospital maybe once for DKA, and I
Okay.
really don't struggle with anything else anymore.
That's awesome. So with your twin sister, has she had like the same issues?
She does.
Okay.
She also has an eating disorder and depression, and I think she also has anxiety, but she sticks more to medication on those things. And I've asked her to come do CrossFit with me and get active, and she's tried. She just doesn't like it like I do.
It's not in her wheelhouse or anything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So with exercise and all that stuff, it helps you with your depression and anxiety. So when did that change from hey, I need to do when did that change come from being depressed and say, hey, I need to change? Like, when did that come around?
I really don't know. Don't remember.
Was it like around college time or high school?
College has been a mess. In about 11th grade.
Yeah.
High school.
Okay, so what made that switch over? Just did you look at yourself in the mirror one day, or be like, you wake up one day and you're like, I need to do something?
Kind of, yeah. I started CrossFit, and of course, at first it was awful. It was terrible. I was very big. I weighed over, I think, 250 pounds.
Okay.
And it got really hard, and I said, I'm gonna die. At one point, I wanted to kill myself, and I decided that shouldn't happen. It's not gonna happen. So I started CrossFit, and that helped a lot.
Especially with the community aspect of it too.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's super nice and welcoming. And I've noticed any CrossFit gym that I've gone to, they're like, hey, everyone introduces themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And they're super nice, which is amazing, and which I think is a great way to if you have fears or anxiety or stuff like that, or depression, being in a community like that is super helpful
Yes.
for people. So, but people think there's a lot of things with CrossFit that people see, that they see the CrossFit games and see these jacked mofos, and they're
Yes.
they get super intimidated, and it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
So if you go to a normal CrossFit gym, it's just a you see a regular guy just doing his 9 to 5, coming in, just working out for an hour, and then leaving. So
I have people all the time tell me they're too old, they're too fat, they're too slow, they can't do a pull-up, they can't do a push-up. Guys, I was over 250 pounds. I could not do a pull-up or a push-up. I didn't know what a barbell was, and it's changed my life. If I can do that, if I can start that, anybody can.
yeah, awesome, very cool. So with that, all right, well, with that, thank you very much for joining on my podcast, my
Yes.
first ever podcast. High five for that. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and it was an amazing time. I'm actually really glad I went to your meet to check it out,
Yes.
because I was, be honest with you, I was a little timid. I was like, I don't know, should I go? Should I not? But I'm like, she probably doesn't happen to be there with her, so she needed a fellow diet buddy to root her on.
Yes.
And you just absolutely killed it, and I was super proud of you.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you so much for being my first guest on my podcast.
Yes.
And I would love to be many more to come.
Absolutely.
So, all right, well, that wraps it up, guys. And thank you for joining the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. You rock.
Yes.